Welcome to another episode of Rich Dad Stockcast, where we're here to help people serious about improving their financial education. I'm your host, Denney, and today's topic is one of the that everyone gets excited about: passive income streams. Now, passive income is a cornerstone of building financial freedom, and we're going to dive deep into the strategies that can help you to get started or even expand your own streams of income. Now, before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Your feedback helps us to bring you more of the content that you care about. And as always, visit stockcastbonus.com for free resources to boost your financial knowledge. Now, joining us today is Rich Dad expert Andy Tanner. Andy, welcome back to the show.
Hey, my man. Good to be with you, Del. You couldn't have chosen a better topic here. I mean, passive income. What a great thing to delve into. And I think the caveat with this would be to people say, "Oh, I know what passive income is." Well, no, they don't. People think they know what it is, but they don't know what it is. So it'll be a great discussion. Looking forward to it.
I love passive income. It's probably one of my favorite topics. So let's just start with the basics. Andy, what's the basics of passive income versus what people think passive income is?
Important to set the context and to define it in a proper context, because that jargon, passive income, can go out in the air and mean a lot of things to a lot of people. From an accounting standpoint, if you were to talk to someone like Tom Wheelwright, for example, he might say, well, the government looks at how you earn in different ways. They might have ordinary income, like at a job. You might have portfolio income from like a stock, or you might have passive income from perhaps like a royalty that you receive from a song you wrote, something like that. And so we're not really talking about it from a tax standpoint. In our context, the way we refer to passive income, or the way I refer to it, is, Robert says that an asset is something that you buy, and because you bought it, it now produces cash flow and puts money in your pocket. That is the definition of a true asset. It's something that you buy that puts money in your pocket. I like to think of it as a cash flow jack in the box. You have this box that has a handle that does work, and then cash flow comes out, and the price tag on that could go up or down. So those three elements: price, work, and cash flow. The cash flow is what I think is king. So in my brain, gold is a great hedge, but it's not a passive income asset. I can't sit and have a bar of gold pay me month in, month out, month in, month out forever. The only way I could earn money on that gold is if I sold the gold. And the same is true with a Bitcoin, right? Or a ETH, or whatever crypto you want to go with. And so when you buy a commodity, you have to buy it low and sell it high. That's why gold is a commodity, right? It's something I'd have to get rid of to turn it back into cash. Whereas a real estate property or a dividend-paying stock or business, it's going to generate cash from the work that it does. And so gold doesn't work, and Bitcoin doesn't work. Real estate works. It provides housing every month. Stocks work. Apple produces iPhones. AT&T produces a network. Pfizer produces pharmaceuticals. So when you have a passive income, you have something that you've purchased. And this is a big deal because it's lost on people. Why do I say that people don't understand it? Because of the questions they ask me. If they start saying that, if they start going off the rails and saying, well, I'm going to get rich because I'm going to buy this stock and it's going up. Well, that's capital gain. That's portfolio income. That's capital gain. You made some money, but it's not a passive income. It's not an income that I would say, all right, you're going to get the same thing next month then. Well, then you'd have to buy low and sell high again and be a technical analyst and everything else. Are you going to consistently make money on this if you do nothing? In other words, when I look at the real estate property I own, I don't have to do anything. I'll get paid. I don't have to sell the property to get paid. By owning it, I get paid, not by selling it. So when people ask me, Andy, what stocks do you think are going up? I already know they're not interested in passive income. They're interested in buying low and selling high. They don't have an interest in passive income, if that makes sense. So
Mm-hmm.
understanding the difference between cash flow income and capital gain. Capital gain requires a sale. You've got to do a deal. Now you have cash. How's it going to make you money next month? I think passive income comes from things that you can buy and hang on to, and no matter where the price goes, you're getting a check. And that's where I love real estate and stocks so much is, with real estate, this price could go up that month, the price could go down that month, doesn't matter. The rent comes in. With stocks, I'm going to collect my premiums. I'm going to collect my dividends, regardless of where the stock goes in terms of price. So people, I'm getting so sick of freaking price, Del. Don't get me going. Don't you'll trigger a rant.
I
You
feel
go
like
on
I see it
CNBC.
boiling.
You go on CNBC and price, what's up, what's down? Oh, the new high, Nvidia, price, price. And then you take people that really know what they're doing, like Warren Buffett. They don't care what the price is. They care what the price is when they buy it. That's it. If they want a good price when they buy it, and once they bought it, they want the income from what the business does. They prefer not to sell it. They would prefer not to sell. They don't want to lose the asset. They would prefer. So you can see why they don't like some of the commodity type, assets, because they're not income producing. They're capital gain wishing. And that's just the reality of what it is. I mean, I love commodities for hedging, not for cash flow. I own them for different reasons. I'm not bashing gold or even crypto. I just see them as being used not for passive income. I see them used for more of a hedge. If the dollar were to disintegrate, those things would probably still have some value, even if as the dollar were to fall. So that's the difference. Passive income is not capital gain, from my point of view. Anyway, it's just my point of view. It's just an opinion.
No, and there's a lot of similarities of what you said with I was at a Berkshire Hathaway shareholders meeting in Omaha years and years ago, and you basically get to pick at the time, Warren Buffett's brain. You got to pick, Charlie Munger's brain, and someone brought up gold, and Warren, why aren't you buying gold? And he's like, what am I going to do? Just sit on it? I could buy a big pile of it and just sit on it. It's not going to do anything for me. And it kind of sounds it's very similar what you were saying.
Yeah. There. He doesn't need a hedge. He's got plenty of assets. He doesn't need that hedge. I own gold. I have my gold and silver little emblems up there, and we have some in the safe and other locations. So I like gold, but I see it more as an insurance policy rather than a way to get rich. It's probably a way to retain wealth. If you have a bunch of cash and there's no income producing asset, where are you going to put it? Buying some of that is a store of wealth, but it's not. But understand, it's a store of wealth, not a producer of wealth. And passive income isn't about a store of wealth; it's about a manufacturing of wealth. And it doesn't manufacture and self-replicate and compound on its own. It grows. To me, compounding denotes reinvestment. It doesn't just mean growth of an asset. It means reinvestment, that it produced some cash, and the cash that I earned goes in to buy another asset. To me, that's what compounding is. And passive income allows you to compound, allows you to make reinvestments of profit.
Oh, fantastic. Now, what about, so I think most people understand passive income. Probably the first thing that comes to mind is real estate, buy a rental property, get the mailbox money, whatever you want to call it. But what about the stock market? What about the stock market, though? For those that, they think that it's the buy and sell, it's the commodities. What would you say to those people about passive income?
It's so much about the investor. If you looked at a big real estate deal, you'd really have three parties. The first party would be the sponsor. They're going to come out the best. The second party would be private equity investors that provide down payment. And then the third party would be institutions like banks that provide the financing for the project. Now, all of them are going to make money. The bank is going to make a very small amount of money, 5%, 4%, whatever the financing the day would be, maybe 3%, right? They're going to make their money off of interest on loans. So they make their money by loaning it. The investors that put up the equity to, the down payments, they're going to have a degree of ownership. The sponsors are infinite return guys. They're the guys that get a proportion of ownership simply by putting the deal together. And those are the best investors. Those are the ones, that'd be like where Kenny is, Kenny McElroy or Than Merrill. That's where those guys are at. And so, it's the same with stocks. The guy that takes it public makes the most money. The shareholders can buy it, right? And they can buy it at retail and get their dividends. So it kind of depends on where you are playing that game. As a retail investor, I don't mind being a retail investor as long as I have the options market with me, because you can, stack, so to speak, stack those incomes. You can say, okay, I have my stock and I could have a capital gain. That's one opportunity. Okay, great. Not my favorite, but it's there. I'll give you an example. I talk a lot about ExxonMobil. Prudential was a big one that I scored well on. You buy these when they're really cheap, like during a COVID, and now they've doubled or further in price. But that doesn't help me because I don't want to sell it. If I sell it, I lose the dividends and I lose my option premium. So stacking, income above, your dividends and stacking on top of that put or call premiums, stacks it. And it produces an overall greater return, which accelerates compounding. But it's the passive elements of those that get me excited. I hope I've gained the maturity over time not to get too excited when stocks go up, not to get too worried when they go down. I worry if they cut a dividend. I worry if premiums were to go away, which they won't. As long as there's an options market alive, there's premiums. So those sources of income are there.
So stacking premiums, maybe can you explain what stacking premiums are to the average investor?
Yeah, stacking income is just a way of multiple streams of income. If I look at a stock, I might have a dividend as one level. Stacked on top of that, I'd have a covered call premium. Stacked on that, maybe I have a naked call premium if I know what I'm, if I'm educated. Stacked on top of that, I might have some income associated with the stock from my cash, willing to buy more of it with cash secured speed. I stack that on top, so I can have multiple streams of income, passive income, to where I'd say, look, I'm not having to go work at a job to get that portion of the income in my life. I look at the real estate. I'm not, that portion is huge because it's dividend, and you could stack that too. I mean, if you looked at a large project, yeah, you have the rent as one income, but you also have the coin laundry as another income. You also have the vending on the property as another. Maybe you decide to build covered parking and charge more for those that want covered parking. I mean, this guy has a dog. Okay, well, I'm going to charge more for a pet fee or whatever. So you can figure out how to get, income stacked all over the place. Airlines do it. Okay, I'm going to charge them for the seat. Oh, but I'm also going to charge them for their bags. Oh, I'm also going to charge them for insurance in case they want, insurance. Oh, I'm also going to charge them more if they want a refundable ticket rather than just a regular ticket. So every business wants to stack their income. We're just going to find, the car wash is going to charge for the car wash, but they're also going to sell you the air freshener separate. And then they're going to sell you the Armor All, whatever, keep your dash looking good extra. Stacking income is not a hard concept. It just means multiple streams, several ways to bring it in, and stocks are no different. Real estate's no different. It just increases the return and increases the passive income, the opportunity to reinvest.
That's a really good way of looking at it. I really like that analogy. But let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and when we return, let's have you share some practical steps and strategies for creating multiple streams of passive income. Listeners, stay tuned.
So far, it's been great. I needed a source where I could really enrich my education through stocks. I didn't really have an avenue for it, and it's helped me a lot. The simplicity has really gotten me on the track to where I enjoy the learning as well as it's really solidifying in my mind. And like, they're not just trying to sell you something, they really care about the people that are in the course, and they really do care about you and your personal goals, and what you want to do is to help you and your family and whatever your goals are in life through that. So it's really been great.
Welcome back to Rich Dad Stockcast. I'm your host, Denney, and today we're exploring passive income streams. Now, before we dive back in, don't forget to visit stockcastbonus.com for free tools and resources to help you to master financial strategies and take control of your financial future. Now, Andy, let's talk about how listeners can implement these strategies in their own lives and start building wealth passively. I think most listeners realize, you make money when the stocks go up. Sometimes they might know that you can make money when stocks go down, but there's also a sideways movement where we can also make money. You brought up covered calls. I always have liked that strategy. Maybe we can just talk about covered calls for a second, what they are. We don't have to go deep into it, but just to outline how passive income might happen because of it.
Yeah, I mean, I would even back up further than that. You mentioned stockcastbonus.com. If a person was starting new, I'd start there. That's why we put it out there for you, because you'll want to see how much passive you'll need and how quickly you want to build it. And the things we have there at stockcastbonus.com are incredible tools to help a person do that. It gives someone a roadmap to passive income that says, okay, how fast? I mean, getting out of the rat race is a function of passive income. It's a replacement therapy for a paycheck. That's really what it is. If a person has a certain nut to crack, and right now their job is sufficient to crack that nut, replacing the active income of working with the passive income of investing is the game. I mean, that is the gig. Financial freedom requires passive income, not capital gain. No one is going to buy a bar of gold and retire because the gold went up in price, because the moment you sell it, it doesn't produce income any longer, if that makes sense. So go to stockcastbonus.com as your first step and start learning what that pathway and what that map looks like, so you can be very realistic and turn your dream into a project of building passive income, a dollar at a time. And so with that, what does it look like? Well, I would say there's lots of them. I'm hearing is one of our tables rattle or something? I hear a tink, tink, tink. Did you hear
I don't
that
hear
right
anything
there? That's weird. I'm hearing it. Bum, 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 bum. Are you hearing that, Sarah?
I hear it too. Del, whenever you move, it's when I hear it.
It's probably you know what?
Yeah,
it's in your mic, so you can't hear it. So if you got your hands on your table,
how about now? Can you hear it now?
I think.
All right. I couldn't hear it.
I
won't touch it.
Okay.
I won't touch the mic.
Perfect.
All right.
We'll hop back in.
Let me.
So
how can I tee you up again?
We'll just cut where I was talking about. Yeah. So the pathway and the map to passive income, I mean, that is the gig, right? That is the goal. If a person did something yesterday towards that goal, great. If yesterday you didn't do something towards that goal, every day a person waits is critical compounding time that they lose. So if anyone that wants to get out of the rat race, the urgency of a daily effort, like something on your calendar, every day there should be an activity that builds passive income if that's your goal. The replacement therapy doesn't happen with a 401k. Those numbers are proven. You look at that, more than half those people that are ready to retire will have less than $300 a month coming in. It just doesn't work for the vast majority of folks. So let's look at some different types of things. I can use my life as an example. The first thing my wife and I did for passive income is we did buy real estate. And so we found a mentor. We got educated. We got our hand held. After a lot of failures, we finally were smart and got a mentor. And we purchased a property. I don't remember how much it was for. I don't remember the purchase price anymore. But I remember the rent gave us about $500 in passive income. It was our first $500. The guy's name was Laban, and he bought this house, rented this house from us. And, back then it was mailbox money. They'd send a check to, now it's all electronic and you have property managers. But that first little bit, we've received checks, and that was passive income that we enjoyed. Now, it wasn't much. It was $500. So it wasn't enough to retire on. But I'll tell you, it was the sweetest money we'd ever received before, because it was because of an asset we acquired as opposed to work that we'd done. So real estate is a way. And, I told my sons, I said, if you just go out and buy a handful of houses, not like you don't need 1,000 of them, you get a handful of houses, that passive income will grow as inflation grows. Rents will go up, your payment will not, it'll be fixed. And if you want to be financially free, you don't need to go to school. Go to real estate school, take real estate classes. And then the same is true with stocks. I love the passive income. I love being able to demand it by clicking a button and selling a call. I'm not going to get into the details of covered calls here. That'd be a separate episode. And even then, you need to understand strikes. I mean, it's a longer conversation that's had in a podcast. My 4 pillars class is about 20 hours front to back. And that's really, it's not 4 years, but it's not 10-minute podcast either. And so, call writing is incredible, because you click and get paid. You click and money comes to your account simply because you own something. There's all types of incomes we could delve into from different configurations of option trades and premiums that come by owning something rather than by working for the money. Either owning cash or owning stock. Between those two ownerships, you can really compound effectively. The other one is, in my life is Robert Kiyosaki, and even more so Kim Kiyosaki. They said you really should produce. You should build a company, and companies leverage the efforts of other people, if that makes sense. And so, if you can build a nice team, that is working, and you simply lead that or hire a leader, which would I've done. I'm not a good leader, so I hire leaders and bring leaders in. I'm not a good enough leader. I'm not mean enough. Got to mean people to be leaders, I guess. No, our leaders are great, but they're people that get things done and values produced. And so that's a form of passive income, is if you have a nice business. And then even within that, Robert, I give him a lot of credit. I never would have become an author if I'd have never met him. And it's interesting, as I thought about it, Rich Dad Poor Dad has changed the lives of millions of people, and it's given a lot of value. The person who made the most money off Rich Dad Poor Dad was the guy who created the book. And creators get paid, consumers don't pay. So a reader pays, a writer earns. Let me say it again: a writer earns, a reader doesn't earn. Now, they get value for what they pay. They get knowledge. So they do receive knowledge, but they don't receive money. They receive knowledge. And so royalties are an amazing passive income. If you can find a song to write or a book to publish that is truly valuable to people, that's worth the money they spend, word gets out, and sure enough. So, royalties, distributions, profits, dividends, those are passive income words. In real estate, we call it a distribution. In stocks, we call it a dividend or a premium. In business, we call it a profit. In the royalty business, we call it a royalty, right? And so these are the types of things that denote passive income. A salary, a wage are not passive income. A commission, commissions, salaries, wages, those are not sources of passive income. Those are active income. Capital gain, that is kind of starts to blow the line between profit. But really, real profits come in from your, if you look at your statement of cash flows, you want operational cash flow to feed your profit, not so much selling of the investments. or
No.
financing of things.
I love passive income, and you bring up books. I wrote a book. You've written books. I wrote my book in 2021 BC GPT. You know what that is? Before Chat GPT.
Yeah.
I always say there's so many ways to make money when it comes to passive income. Now, one of my, Rich Dad Poor Dad favorite financial book of all time, something that's ingrained in my mind. Financial freedom occurs when passive income meets or exceeds expenses, right?
Yes.
Financial freedom. Okay, we're doing passive income to reach financial freedom. What does financial freedom look like to you, Andy?
Well, I think you described it. That's exactly what it means. I think you could say independence and freedom are a little bit different. I think there's two tiers to it. I think that when you look at the rat race, I think the best way is the cash flow board game. Is you have this initial goal of getting out of the rat race, which denotes independence from a job. You're no longer tethered to working for money. Now your lifestyle is one of independence, but may or may not be abundant, depending on what you think that is. And so the independence means I could exist by myself, independent of being tethered to a job. That would be the first goal, is financial independence. Financial freedom is a little bit bigger than that, because that means you get to do what you have freedom to do things. You can do what you want when you want. So, a person might be financially independent, but they don't have the freedom to just go to Italy and live there for 6 years or whatever. They might not, or, take a world cruise, or, go buy a Ferrari or whatever they want to do. And so financial freedom is a little bit bigger idea, in that you're not only independent, but you're free to do and buy and acquire, or build memories, or whatever is valuable to you. I do think that there's a huge increase in human happiness via independence. I think you have a diminishing return the further you get into freedom, because how many Ferraris can you buy before that doesn't give you the dopamine hit that it used to, right? And so in my opinion, financial independence is a huge leap in overall human happiness, to be independent and not to be a slave. Beyond that, I think there's also some increases in happiness with that, and I think they're worth pursuing. But the big one is, I feel, even when I play the cash flow game, I feel a bigger dopamine hit when I get out of the rat race in that game than maybe even when I hit the big, grand poopah dream at the very, very end. It's such a milestone, and passive income is the key to both of those things. Passive income builds financial independence, and it also builds freedom. So that's I don't know if that's, I guess those are just my opinions.
And that's
And
what I was
so,
that's what I was looking for. I wanted
opinions
your
for what they're worth.
Yeah, I wanted your
But for
opinion on
me,
that.
yeah, for me, I'm less of I don't find a lot of happiness in objects. Not to say I don't have some nice things. I've invested in some very nice things, and I have some nice stuff. But I really enjoy control of time. That, to me, that's the bigger one. And the ability to do events and memories and experiences. I find a lot of happiness in time with my family, and going and doing things with the people that are the very closest to me on this earth, right? It's really my wife and my two sons that are my immediate circle, my immediate family. And so independence allows more investments of time. That's really important, because if I'm always pursuing the future, I get to look back, even at my age. I'm not an old guy yet, at least not that old. I can look at the time I've spent since they've been alive with absolutely no regrets. We've spent so much incredible, wonderful quality time together, and you need a little bit of independence to be able to do that. So passive income delivers that opportunity. The more I'm in the education business, the more I shake my head, and I'm puzzled. I'm puzzled that people wouldn't find it attractive to put daily tasks on their calendar and daily efforts towards passive income. I think people get dopamine hits when they go to seminars and I don't like the seminar business as much as I used to. I'll still go speak at one maybe once a year or something. But I really love the training in my home studio of people who want to actually learn daily, not just be motivated ideas. There's a threshold that people can cross educationally when they stop just paying attention to the dopamine hit of great ideas and what could be, what could be, and start working on what is and what you're doing now. And I just believe that when a person wakes up in the morning, I know every morning I wake up, I think about passive income and increasing that number and putting some type of effort or knowledge towards it to receive a passive income. Passive income, to me, it's a matter of opinion. And it's a matter of who you are. I imagine if I was a great drummer in a rock band, earning that money on stage might be a thrill to have that active income. Or if I was in the NBA, but even my buddies who are musicians, and I actually have good friends that retired from the NBA, and they say, at the end of the day, even that stuff becomes a job, because there's some nights where you don't want to get on that plane, you don't want to go get in the stance and fight against another sweaty dude. So passive income, I think if people would give it a try, even if they get their first $100, I don't feel very confident in the Cash Flow Academy I can get a guy $1 million of passive income, in their first round of activities. I feel nearly 100% confident that I can have someone earn their first few $100s very, 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 very quickly, where they say, oh my gosh, that kind of like my wife and I, when we did our first rental house, it's like, wow, $500 isn't much, but that feels pretty good. Maybe we can build on this. That's an exciting notion. So that's what we're here for. That's what StockCast bonus is for, is to give people actionable things that they can start doing rather than listening. We're grateful to people for the listen, but there's something in their mind that probably resonates. Like, if I were to actually do something more than just listen, actually do, that would be even better. And yeah, it would be. So your intuition serves you well.
There we go. That's fantastic. Well, Andy, that is a wrap for today's episode of Rich Dad Stockcast. We hope this discussion on passive income has been enlightening and inspirational, and you start creating your own streams of income afterwards, taking action, like Andy said. And Andy, a huge thank you to you for sharing your expertise with us as always. It's always a pleasure to have you on. And guys, remember, education is the key. Visit stockcastbonus.com. Take action. Go over there for free resources to help you on your financial journey. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. Your feedback always helps us to create better content, and sharing this episode with your friends and family is a great way to start them in their passive income journey too. Thanks for tuning in to Rich Dad Stockcast. Until next time, remember, get smart, get invested, and take control of your financial future. I'm Denney, and we'll see you on the next episode.
This podcast is a presentation of Rich Dad Media Network.